Welcome back to the Opportunity Room, the show where we sit down with true leaders, change makers, people who are turning ambition into actions. Today's guest is someone who's redefining beauty across borders. From Senegal to Seoul, Fama Ndiaye has become one of the leading voices in Korean beauty industry, building bridges between cultures, brand, and skin tones through her company, Agaskin, and her consulting work at famandiai.com. She's actually pushing real inclusion, not just as a marketing trend, but as a science, a language, and a form of respect. So let's dive into her journey, her philosophy, and how she's actually changing global beauty. Welcome to the Opportunity Room, Fama Ndiaye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I've been chasing you all around the globe just to have this sit down talk for many, many months, but I'm glad and just
It's so
excited to
true.
have this conversation with you. So, thank you
It's true.
for allowing me to have this opportunity to sit down with you. So, Fama, let's start from the beginning, right? So, you originally from Senegal, right?
Yeah.
What I usually do is I just go online and just kind of scrape the internet and just
Yeah.
find people only from Senegal, right? People from Africa, people who have actually made some type of impact, right? So that's how I stumbled through your profile, and it was very interesting that we had one of our sister actually living in Korea and just having a global impact. So now let's start from the beginning, right? Just were you in beauty space before you went to Korea, or you in Senegal, or how did that come about? Just tell us a little bit from your journey from Senegal to Seoul. How did that come about?
I was born in Paris, and
Okay,
then, I worked, I did my study here, and then I used to go back and forth to Senegal. And
okay,
then after I graduated, I moved to New York.
okay,
So I graduated in foreign languages and communication.
okay,
And when I was in New York, I pursued more languages, foreign languages. I just love languages. So I started to learn Japanese. So when I was in Paris, I studied like, English, Spanish, German. And then when I moved to New York, I was like, oh, like I really love Asian culture from, animation and stuff like that. So all my brothers and I, that's what we watched. And when I was in New York, I started to study Japanese. And from the Japanese classes, we had a lot of Korean American, which was very uncommon for me. And I was just like, and that's when I always tell people, please travel as much as you can because it really opens up your mind and like you meet different people, different culture, right? So from Korean Americans, like we became friends. And then one day they took me to K Town in New York. You know what the K
okay.
Town is in New York?
No, absolutely no.
So it's like just 2 blocks away from Macy's.
Okay,
So it's literally a block, but it's literally Koreatown. So you have everything that you have in Korea in one block. So you have like the
okay,
restaurant, you have the beauty store, you have, karaoke, bakery, everything, right? So it was fun. We went for to eat and stuff like that. But then I stumbled upon the beauty store that's called the Face Shop, and when you go in there, like everybody had like, obviously the posters, like all these Korean models had amazing skin, but I was very intrigued by what they had in terms of sheet masks. So sheet mask back then was not a thing. Nobody really like knew about it. And I was very fascinated by that because you had Macy's 2 blocks away, and like another 2 block, like maybe 3 or 4 blocks away, was the Sephora, and none of them
okay,
had those products. So I was like, huh, this is so interesting. How come like they don't have these products? And my friend was like, oh, this is Korean beauty, like it's Korean skincare. You have to do it this and this and that. So I got really intrigued and I looked into it.
okay,
And then I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. So I started like, trying the products and stuff like that. And I saw like, and I always loved cosmetics and beauty because my mom is so like, she loves anything related to perfume, skincare, and stuff like that. My thought was, this is so amazing and nobody knows about it. Like, what's going on? And then it's like, it was back in 2009. And then after,
Now, Fama, let's go and interrupt you a little bit. What is sheet mask? To break it down so I can understand what it
oh,
is.
So the sheet mask is like it's like something you put on your face. It's a sheet, literally. It's like cotton, right? And it
Okay.
has the shape of your face. And then it's soaked with like some lotion, like essence
Right.
or serum. And then you put it on your face, and then it just gives you like those benefits, different ingredients, and then your skin feels better, pretty much.
Okay.
So
All
it's
right.
as if you would do like, instead of putting your cream as you usually do, you would put the sheet mask, then
Okay.
let it sit on your face for like 10 minutes, and then you would finish with your cream. So that whole process is something that nobody knew about before. It's really something that was created and invented by Koreans.
Okay.
So that's
Amazing.
how I got into it. So I started telling about this to my mom, like my friends, my sisters, and stuff like that, and even friends in the US. And everybody was looking at me like, it's Korean skincare. It's not for us. It's
All
Korean
right.
skincare. And I was like, no, you need to try it. It's really great. And I think at that point, I understood that there was really like a lack of understanding and
Right.
a lack also of marketing from the brands to make people understand, or you can use those products too. But I
Right.
could also understand it because everything you saw in terms of stores is only like Korean women using the product. So
Right.
we all need like, visuals. I need to see a black woman using it. I need to see somebody who looks like me to think like that's going to work for me, right? So fast forward to 20, so that's 2009, right? So fast forward to 2015, my brother tells me on September, oh, this year, at the end of this summer, which is summer 2016, I will go to Japan.
Okay.
I'm like, "Oh, I'm coming," right? So I invited myself. I'm like, "I'm coming." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine." And he loves to travel, right? So he's like, "Okay, this year we're going to Japan." And then I said to him, "Well, Korea is really close to Japan. Why don't we do both?" And he's
Right.
like, "Yeah, okay, sure, why not?" So my thing at that point was I will go to Japan and then Korea, and then eventually I can move to Japan because I really wanted to live in Asia, right? So the summer, I think it was July 2016, we did Korea 2 weeks, Japan 2 weeks, and another 2 weeks in Korea.
Okay.
And then I was just like, okay, Korea, that's it. That's for me. So when I arrived, it's very mesmerizing because you have beauty stores everywhere, like everywhere. So anybody who loves beauty, who loves cosmetics, it's overwhelming because the same way you have, I don't know, a bakery every block, well, you're
Right.
gonna have a beauty store every block. That's
Wow.
how much beauty you have over there. And
Okay.
it's just, and so many brands. But then it hit me in terms of, oh, people really don't know about this. And it's
Right.
so amazing. And I think I can do something here because this is something that's going to work. And this is something that when it's going to blow up, it's really going to blow up. So
Right.
that's when I decided I'm going to come back here and make my business here.
Okay.
That's how I started like that. So
Without any background whatsoever in cosmetic or anything like that, you just
now, just my love for cosmetics. I love cosmetics, of course, like, like skincare, makeup, perfume. But I never thought like I'm gonna go and like build like something related to beauty. I never thought I'm gonna have my own company. That wasn't even something I thought about.
so now where that appetite for business came. Were you always a entrepreneur like minded, or you just thought you would venture out just because there was an opportunity there?
I think I always like to do, like, I'm very ambitious in everything that I do. So I'm very goal focused. So if I want to do something, I'm gonna give it like 200%. So again, I never thought I will be building a company or something like that. But if I'm thinking, oh, I think this can work, and I like if you do it this way, and I'm gonna follow through and do it.
Okay. Okay. So at that time, were you working in New York or you were just still studying?
Yes, I was working in New York in event. management. So
Okay.
yeah, so we were doing like events for the fashion week, like this type of thing, and I was also like studying at the same time. But then when I went to Korea for like 3 months. Like I was between the Korea and Japan trip. That was a 3 month period. Then I moved back to Paris where I worked for Dior for 1 year.
Okay. All right.
Because then it's like, okay, great. I want to go back to Korea and do something, but I'm like, let's save money first.
Right. Right.
So I worked for 1 year at Dior. And then from there, that was 2017.
Okay.
Summer 2017, I went back to Korea and that's when I started the journey. So when I got there, of course, that was very challenging because it's like you have this black girl that nobody knows, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna build a company around K beauty," and people were just like, "Who are you?"
Right.
So one thing I started like learning the language.
Right.
And then what I realized is I started reaching out to the brand. So when I got there, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do in terms of business. I just knew my end goal was always K beauty. But then I was like, I need people to understand that this is great. And I need my people to know that they can use the product, right? Then for the brands, it's just like, yeah, we don't see the potential here. We don't know like how that's going to work. And I think they were there, like there was this thing about we just want to go to the US market. Like when Korean beauty brands say we want to go global, it means we want to go to the US. That's what it
Okay.
means. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I was like, so then I was like, yeah, but the US is very diverse. You cannot like, you need to change your marketing, right? So I started reaching out to brands and tell them, send emails and say, "Oh, I really like your products. Like, if you send me some of your products, I'll make a video for you," right? So brands were like, "Okay, well, that's great. We have a black girl who wants to do like content for us, and then she's not asking for anything special. We'll do that." And then Korean beauty brands, it's nothing for them to send products. Like they love to give away stuff, right? So that's how it started. And then because I would get a lot of reply. People like would literally send me products and I was
Really.
like, well, that's a business right there. I'm like, I should charge people for this. So then I started the company as a video marketing agency.
Okay.
But then also, so that was in 2017, end of 2017. But then at the same time, I registered the name Agaskin
Okay.
in France. Because I
Okay.
had the vision, but I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like for now, let's just register and then we'll see what we're gonna do later on.
Right.
So for like a year, I started like doing video marketing, right? So the video marketing, as a video marketing agency, what we did was we focused on helping Korean brands in general. It could
Okay.
be fashion, could be beauty, could be travel, could be food, to promote their products or content to the global market. So we would do it
Okay.
in English and then stuff like that. But again, in the back of my mind, my end goal was always K beauty. So little by little, I started adding more and more beauty brands. And then the COVID was what really made a big like change for us because that's when we started doing more event, like more, not more event, but more collaboration with Korean beauty brands. And then back in 2021, I started like I had a partner from another company, and I was like, oh, like let's do this project together, where we decided to make a campaign that was called K Beauty Cares for You
Okay.
to promote inclusivity in the Korean beauty space.
Okay.
Because those were the things that I would hear all the time. Oh, it's not for dark skin. It doesn't work for us. And I couldn't blame them because while the brands were saying, oh, we want to go global, they would do nothing in terms of marketing that means global. Everything was always Caucasian. Everything was always like Asian. And I'm like, this doesn't work. And at that time there was a lot. That was also the time where you had the Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
There was this timing, so the brands were starting like changing their mindset a little bit, but the reason why I did the KBD Cares for You campaign is because I was very frustrated because I would see these brands say, "Oh, we like Black Lives Matter," and I was just like, "You don't care. You just want
Right.
you just want to like grab, you know, the momentum." Which, I'm not pinpointing on Korean beauty brands. It was just globally.
Right.
That thing was just
Right.
globally at that time.
Right.
I was just like, yeah, let's do something about it. So that's when we did the campaign. We were featured in the Korea Times because of it. We worked with like 16 models from all different countries. So we had different, skin tone. And then we also worked with, I think we had 8 Korean beauty brands at that time. And then the idea was just like, hey, everybody can use K beauty. You can do too. Right. So that's how we started.
Right now, so Farmer, I just want to break it down for people so they can, for those that are thinking about, maybe they have the same idea, maybe they always had something in the back of their mind, right? And they never had the guts to actually make it happen. So just to kind of take it a little step back, when you got into Korea, right? Uh, how was it like? What was your first impression like? Did you get a pushback from people in general, or they were welcoming? How is Korean culture for people?
Mm, okay.
So just to see if people are really, can just move it up and move to Korea and just start a business easily. How just walk us about the different steps before you start
So
doing.
I think for me, I was like the first thing was I learned, even though I was not fluent, I learned a bit of the language, number one.
Okay.
That
Before
makes a
you
big
moved to Korea.
difference. Before, like I was taking like some Korean classes like in the Korean Language Center in New York,
Okay.
but it was like we had classes like, twice a week. So it's not like you're
Okay.
gonna be fluent with that, but you have
Right.
basics, right?
Right.
So then when I arrived in Korea, I also did 1 semester at one of their university for Korean
Okay.
language.
Okay.
But also it was very, I would say, challenging in a way where when I would before I moved, before I got to Korea the first time,
Right.
right? When I would
Right.
tell people in New York, "Oh, I'm going to Korea" and stuff like that, people would like look at me and say, "Why would you go to Korea? It's very racist. Why would you go to Korea? This and this and that." So then I was like, I don't know. When is it a good thing to go to Korea? So then I started doing a lot of research. Like I would start it like YouTube and then like social media and then blogs. And then what did I find out? It was mixed. People would say, "Don't go to Korea. It's super racist."
Right.
People would say, "Korea is amazing. You should go to
Right.
Korea." So then
Right.
what I got from that was I just need to go and make my own experience.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
then when you do that, you also need to understand that this is completely different culture. So you need to be open minded.
Absolutely.
Whatever they're gonna, whatever. So I always tell, like, I have some, like, a lot of friends, obviously, in the US, and a lot of my friends, I can see like half of them would totally blend in Korea, half of them would not blend in Korea, right? So it really depends on people and how they, take things and like how they interpret some of the things.
Right.
So I was
Right.
telling them, so when I got to Korea, I got there with a very open mind in terms of, okay, they don't like this, they don't do that, this is how they function. So not going with expectations and
Right.
judgment, right? That makes a
Absolutely.
big difference.
Absolutely.
That makes a big
Absolutely.
difference because when you like, at the end of the day, I'm going to your country. So
Right.
I'm not trying to become Korean, but I'm trying at
Right.
least to respect your culture and your country.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'll try my best to, and people see that, right? So I think those are the most important thing I would say.
So now, when you did that 1 year, was it 1 year at university
No,
for
it
the
was
language?
just like a trimester.
Okay, so after that trimester, right, you started becoming more comfortable with the language. So when you were doing your outreach to those different beauty companies, were you
Yeah,
doing it in English or in Korean?
in English, in English.
Okay, okay, okay. So English is well spoken in Korea as well, right?
And
It's a language of
so
business,
the
or
thing, there are two things with this. Like there is a misconception thinking that everybody speaks English in Korea. You would
okay,
think so because everybody goes to school from a very young age studying learning English. So you would
okay,
think everybody speaks English, but that's
right,
not the case. Like they
okay,
don't really, and sometimes like I think it's just a cultural thing, to be honest, because I would meet with people and they're like, they would not want to talk in English. But then they were like, you would hear them sometimes like say something because like they would have to speak with someone who doesn't speak one word of Korean. And then they would
Okay.
speak English. But
Okay.
the English for them is like, my English is not good because they just love perfection.
Okay. Okay. I see.
So
All right.
it's like they think that if my English is not perfect, I cannot talk. And I'm telling them, your English is more like than, mediocre. It's actually pretty
Right.
good.
Right.
But I think
Right.
they want like perfect English. So that's
I
why they
understand.
just, oh, I don't want really to speak English. Um but the fact that a lot of these brands want to go global, you're gonna
Right.
have at least one team member that's gonna speak English.
Okay. Okay. Makes
That's
sense.
how it works, yeah. But now it
Okay.
changed a lot. Like now, like, they're starting to hire more foreigners and stuff like that. So like a lot has changed for the past 6 years.
All right. Cool. So now, before we move into your, brand and all of that stuff, um, tell me if you had a welcome to Korea moment. Because I always ask my guests, right? Did you had a welcome to America moment? My story was very funny. Out of New York. I don't remember if it was Brooklyn or uh, Bronx, because it's been so many years ago, right? So I always tell people that when I came to Brooklyn or New York or Bronx, I don't remember. I was welcomed by big rats in the kitchen, right? So I was fairly disappointed for first experience. Right, I enter one of my relatives' house, and the first thing I saw was 15 people in an apartment, three-bedroom apartment, right, and a kitchen full of rats that was roaming around actually the stove while they were cooking. So I was like, I was fairly disappointed about New York City, right, when I came into New York. But so, do you have any similar story in Korea? It doesn't have to be as funny as mine, because that's a. But did you have any welcome to Korea moment?
Yeah, I think I had two. I think
Right,
when I like the first thing I noticed is back then, that was
right.
2017, right? So when I would when I would take the subway, people would take pictures of me.
Mm,
But then they would try to be like smart about it, right?
right.
But they would not. Because when you sit in the subway and then you have the reflection on the glass? That's how I noticed. And I was
Okay,
just like, okay, because for them it's like, oh my God, a black person.
right.
That was like back then. Another thing was, I remember I was waiting for a friend. That was like very like, I was waiting for a friend in front of the department store. It was the Hyundai department store.
Okay,
I remember, and it was really hot. It was summer. So I'm going inside in the entrance area and I'm waiting for her. And at that time, I had braids, right?
okay,
So I'm waiting. And then I see this like middle-aged woman, right? So she's passing. And then she's like looking at me, but then she keeps passing.
okay,
Then she comes back inside. So she's leaving the store, right? But then she comes back inside and she keeps looking at me again. And then she goes inside the department store. Then finally she comes back a third time. She stops. She said like, "Oh my God, this is so pretty." She speaks in Korean to me and she starts touching my hair and like grabbing it. And I was like,
really.
yeah. And I was like, I just didn't know what to say or do because, the culture is our culture is like you don't yell or scream
Right,
at older people,
right,
So I'm just
right,
like, thank you. I
right.
didn't know what to say, and I was just like, oh my God,
Right.
thank
Did you just do
you.
that to me?
Yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's those kind of things. But you see, that's what I'm saying about the cultural differences.
Right,
While I understand that she doesn't understand it, and it's like she's fascinating by it, I could also see how people would like go off on her.
right. Absolutely. Yes,
You
yes.
see? So that's what I'm saying, like, but I also see that she didn't do it in a mean way. She was just literally like mesmerized by, oh my God, some braids. But you just need to balance everything. But I was just like, oh, I guess I need to know that like when I walk around, like.
Absolutely. That
So
was
yeah.
interesting. Pretty interesting. So now that you in Seoul, right? You
Yeah,
currently
yeah,
in
yeah.
Seoul. So now does Seoul have a large black community?
It's growing every year.
Okay, okay,
It's yeah, because they had, and how I found out about it is because every year they have the Seoul Africa Festival.
okay.
So, and it gets bigger and bigger every
Okay.
year.
All right. All right.
So it's a good thing because all the African embassy come together, like all the diaspora like comes together. So it's like a 1 day event usually, but that's when you're like, so many black people in Korea.
All right.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
the same thing. Like, I think you need to be like, people don't think about it, but it's actually like, it is. It's like when you also go, like, when it's like Ramadan or like Eid, right? You go to the mosque, like, and you take the pic, like, you take a video of everybody. It's insane. And the people are like, there are that many Muslim in Korea. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. So now let's talk about now your brand, right? Let's dive into it. Obviously,
Agaskin.
this is not my space at all, so I'm gonna ask all of the questions, trying to figure out how that works. Did they have to adjust their product to fit the black community, or their product was actually could actually match any skin tone whatsoever?
So there are two things. Like when we started, like when I started like being in Korea, they had the wrong. So first of all, the beauty criteria in Korea is very different from the rest of the world. They want to be
Okay.
super pale, super white, 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 white.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you want to have, so their ideal of beauty is very different from the global ideal of beauty. So in that sense, a lot of the products sometimes you would have like things like whitening cream,
Okay.
right? If you
Okay.
translate, right? Or
Right.
they would have it actually in English and it says whitening. So I would
Okay.
tell the brands, you cannot use that. But sometimes it is whitening in terms of they add like some type of white product in their ingredient that makes you like a little bit whiter. But a
Right.
lot of the time also it just means brightening, right?
Okay.
Which is just a brightening cream that we can buy like at Sephora, right? But for them, from their perspective, if I'm brightening my Asian skin, I'm whitening
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it's a lot of like this type of like, wording that were the
Right.
first issue. But then in terms of the product itself, besides that part, the products work for everybody.
Okay. Okay.
Because if we're talking about skincare, and I'm basing it from skincare, right? Because makeup and color cosmetics is completely different and they still have a long way to go for that. But in terms of skincare, Korea is top notch because all their ingredients, everything that they use is very safe and natural, and it's not gonna be like harsh on your skin. Now, the way the products work, they work based on your skin type, and we all have the same skin type. We have a normal skin, oily skin, dry skin, combination skin. So that's what it is. But because the communication, the marketing, the visuals are not promoting that, people don't get it. And it's very interesting because just this weekend I was in London. We did an event. We were part of an event that was for women of color, right?
Okay.
So you had brands like Fenty Beauty, like Cantu, you had L'Oreal, NARS, like, all these great brands. And then we were the only booth dedicated to K beauty because my work is to promote K beauty for our, you know, diversity and inclusivity. I would talk. So that event had 4,000 people over the weekend.
Okay.
More than half of the people didn't know about K beauty, or they would say, "I heard about K beauty, but I never tried it. I don't think it's good for us." And I was like, "No, it works. It works. I've been using K beauty for the past 10 years." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then they start listening. So it's not like, it's just that the brands are not understanding this demographic literally. So it's like a constant fight with me and them. Not like, what I mean is like I'm always trying to convince them, explain to them, it's like,
Right.
you need to do this. This is not gonna work. Like, this and that. And there's so many things. And the issue is inclusivity and diversity is not understood.
Okay.
Because when you talk about inclusivity, they're like, okay, well, let's put like, and that's typical in most of the campaign you're gonna see. The photo shoot is always gonna be one Caucasian, one Asian, and one black. But the black is always gonna be like, not too dark, like kind of like mixed race, like, so, but it's always that. And inclusivity and diversity doesn't mean that. And when I
Right,
speak to them, they always think that I want to see black people everywhere. I'm like, that's not what it is. It's a
right,
spectrum, right?
right,
I want to see a Latina. I want to
right.
see an Arabic woman. I want to see an Indian woman. Like that's what it means. I want to see skinny, chubby, like, I want to see curvy. I want to see everything. Because at the end of the day, you want to be represented.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's
Now,
that's that.
haven't you gotten any pushback being a black person and just representing K beauty at all? Because
No, so far so good. I think
really,
people are very intrigued on both sides. So when I speak with Korean brands or when I meet Korean entrepreneurs, they're like, wow. They're like, oh, like I'm probably like one of the like first black person that pushed this agenda in K beauty. So that's why we were able to, build our reputation and like, build the business this way because brands know if you want to work with Agaskin, like it's inclusivity and diversity. If you don't have that, it's not going to work out. On the other side, creators, influencers, they also know us for that. Oh, Agaskin is like when you go to an Agaskin event, it's the most inclusive event you're gonna have in Korea.
nice, beautiful. So now, how did Agaskin and your strategy of consulting, come together to build like a bridge, right? How did you build that bridge between the Korean and this global industry? How were you able to do that?
So at first we started with content creation, right? Like I said,
Okay.
like video marketing and stuff like that. And then little by little, I was because my thought was the reason there are two issues. Korean brands don't understand the demographic and don't understand what it means to be inclusive. So there was at some point some discussion on social media that I would see, and people would say, I don't understand why people are so obsessed with K beauty, why they want K beauty to be so inclusive. It's for like it's not meant to be for the global market. It's Korean beauty. And my position was, I don't mind if you're a Korean brand and you tell me my market is Korea. Good. But if you're a Korean brand and you come to me and you say, we want to enter the global market, okay, now we have an issue. You need to change your marketing,
Mm,
right?
okay.
So that's how like, we started and I would start doing like, beauty classes because I felt like from the consumer side, they had not enough information on K beauty. Because the same thing, like if I go to Korea, I walk around, I'm not gonna see a black girl. I'm not gonna see a you know, Indian girl. It's like Caucasian, Asian, Caucasian, Asian. Now it's changing a little bit, but back then that's all you see. So how are you gonna know that these products work well for you, right?
Okay.
So and then also understand what's the process because Korean skincare is a different concept from what we've learned all our lives in terms of taking care of our skin. Because and I was the first one. I'm like, okay, I wash my face, I put my
Right.
cream, I'm
Right.
going, right? But like they're telling you, no, you need to double cleanse, you need to put your toner, you need to put your essence, you need to wear your sunscreen every day. So these are stuff that Korean Beauty brought to the global market and they did it well because people are seeing that it works. And also, you don't need to spend a lot of money to see the
Okay.
results.
Okay.
So my point was, well, we also like we need like all my community needs to know about that. They need to benefit
Right.
from this like, great products. So that's how it's kind of started. So in terms of how we started working with brands is doing local events with foreigners living in Korea because that was something that was more accessible. And then sometimes, you need a proof of concept for this brand. They're not going to invest if they don't understand the thing. But like, I would invite influencers, I would invite creators, and I would have a beauty class about the brand, explain the brand. And usually I only work with brands that I love and I believe in because otherwise, it's hard for me to kind of convince people about it. And I use the product too. So then I can really vouch for it. So that's why we position ourselves as a K beauty curator. Because actually, in Korea, on a yearly basis, can you guess how many brands are being created?
I just throw a random 100,000. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
10,000.
10,000?
10,000.
Okay, okay. So is that
A
considered
year.
a large number or is just
It's a large
literally
number. It's a lot.
okay, okay. So
So
okay,
every
10,000,
brand,
but I just didn't know how big that
yeah, yeah,
space
yeah.
was.
So it's a lot. So, and then out of the 10,000 brand, maybe like, I don't know, 10% survives the following year.
Hmm.
So it's a constant, like, so it's hard to kind of like, dig in and find, okay, which one is a good brand, which one is not a good brand.
Now, hold on a second. When you say survive, what do you mean by survive? They completely
Yeah,
just go
disappear.
bankrupt?
They
Really?
disappear because it's very competitive.
Wow.
It's very, very competitive.
Okay,
Very, very
okay.
competitive. So,
Interesting.
and I
So let
think,
me ask you: do you think that K-beauty will ever make his way to African continent, like, and just
oh,
really,
it's already starting.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have anything to do with that, or just prior to you actually getting involved?
So what we're in the process of that. I don't have anything to do with that, but there are a couple issues with the African market, right? So
Okay,
number one, the brands are very like lost. They're like, we don't know what's going on in that market. We don't know who to work with. And the consumer know social media. It's all
okay,
over social media. All you see
right,
on social media is K beauty.
right,
And the same people I would have talked to like 3 years ago are the
right.
people talking to me and say, I've been receiving like this year, at least every month or every 2 months, I get one or two email of people asking, we would like to buy some skincare products for the African market.
Okay.
So right now there are some distributors, but the issue is a lot of fake are circulating,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
And it's not just Africa, it's just everywhere. Some
Okay.
fake are being sold on Amazon, some fakes are being sold on Walmart. Like it's really hard to detect. Yeah. So the thing with the brand, for example, so we told the brand that we are starting Agaskin Africa next year, for example, and they told us, well, they feel better doing that
Okay.
because they're like, oh, we have someone we can trust with the
Right.
product, with the
Right.
distribution, and with the logistics.
Right.
So, but for me, what's really tricky is to find the right partners.
Okay. Is it
So
because we have local brands that have already established? Is that what it is, or is it just because they just the challenge of just investing in that space is just very difficult?
they just don't know how the space is working and how much they can gain out of it, right? So
Okay.
it's really
Okay.
hard because, for example, I have brands that I would talk to and say, oh, we're going to do this next year, we're going to do Africa, we want to do a market test and stuff like that. The first thing they ask me is, can we get projections? I'm like, I cannot give you projections because we need to test. But because all, and also you need to understand the price you sell it in the US and the U in Europe like might not work based on the different countries. So you need
Right.
to adjust a little bit. So right now we're doing some tests on the market to see if it works, if it's gonna work. I'm sure it's gonna work, to be honest, because people are asking very specific brands that they see on social media. Yeah, people are very like into K beauty now.
Okay. Okay. So, what are some of the misconceptions that people outside of Asia have about K beauty and their approach about skin care? Like, in your experience, what are some of the misconceptions?
I think the number one thing is Korean skincare is not for dark skin.
Okay.
So that's the number one. And that's just like the biggest mistake because it's not about the skin tone here. We're just talking about your skin type. So as long as people have, they know they have a dry skin, like I said, normal skin or oily skin, they can build a skincare routine. The
Okay.
other thing is a lot of people think that Korean sunscreen or Korean sunscreen have a white cast.
Okay.
And actually, they're the best sunscreen on the market
Mm.
without any white cast. Because
Now,
I think
break it down.
like people are
What is a
used
white
to.
cast? What is a white
So,
cast?
like sometimes you wouldn't know because I don't think you would wear that. But you have some products that you put on. Like if you had sunscreen, and I don't know, I'm just saying like you have some brands when you have like sun protection and you put it on your
Okay.
face and then you look
Right.
like a ghost.
Okay. Okay.
That's the white cast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need a product that doesn't have this white cast. For us, like
Okay.
as the minute you don't have like, you know, pretty much any person of color needs a product without a white cast because otherwise you look like a ghost or you look purple.
Good. All
Yeah.
right. So now let me ask you another question. So you oftentimes brought in as a consultant, right?
Yeah, yeah. We just
So
work on a project right now for that.
yeah. So when you first, what first thing do you look at? You know that most company overlook when you come in as a consultant for the most part.
So when I'm very harsh with the brands. So
Okay.
when I come in and then they have these like, I would say, amazing ideas and amazing like, you know, goals, and the first thing I look at is website and social media.
Okay.
If I see the social media is only Caucasian or only Asian, I'm like, no. If I see
Mm,
the website is only Caucasian, only Asian, I said no. I said, first you need to, before you start thinking of, let's do a pop-up, let's do an influencer event, let's do this and that,
right.
fix that.
Okay.
Because you want to be consistent in your storytelling.
Okay.
You can just say like, oh, we're inclusive. And then you look on the Instagram and it's nothing inclusive.
Right. Right.
So that's the first thing I do. And then I usually tell the brand to be like, if we or like, so if that step is like good to go and we organize any type of event or anything like that, I would tell them like, we're going to pick the influencers. You need to let us do our. Like you cannot tell us we want this person and we want that person and this person. So what happens often is sometimes some brands would come and say, we want Agaskin to do an event for us because they know we're going to bring them that inclusivity aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
that's the
right.
thing. Another thing is right now we've been working with makeup. So
Okay.
Korean beauty brands would come, for example, and they would say, okay, we want to have, we're releasing products and it's going to be inclusive. So I try the products and if like it's not inclusive, so I tell them like, you need to develop more colors to make it more inclusive. Like if I were you, I would just release it. Don't mention inclusivity and stuff like that. And you know, that's one of the things I tell the brand too. You don't need to say you're inclusive. You don't need to say I'm an inclusive and diverse brand. It should speak by itself.
Right.
Nobody like, and I always take Fenty as an example. Rihanna
Okay.
didn't come and say, I'm an inclusive brand. She said, I'm making a brand for everybody. And she showed it through visuals.
Right.
It's just that simple. But then
Right.
it has to be in everything that you do.
That's cool. So now let me ask you. I saw a tag on your website, right? That says, I don't know if you remember it or not. You just say not just a strategy but substance, right? So I don't know if you remember that tagline on
Yeah.
your website. So how do you move brand from strategy to true substance when it comes to inclusion?
So the thing is like that's what I mean by, you know, don't say you're inclusive just to say I'm inclusive and like, you know, really understand what inclusivity means from the core. And the minute the brand, um, I have a lot more respect for brand coming to me and admitting we don't know much about this demographic, like we need help. Yes, I'm
Okay.
here to help. I literally want you to do better. Like, and I
Right.
want to guide you the right way. But when I
Right.
have brands who just say, oh, we okay. We got it. You know, they would ask, I would consult for them. I would say, I think you should do this and that. "Oh, okay, well, I think we could. We can handle it ourselves."
Got you.
You
All right.
can't. It's not
I see.
genuine.
I see what you're saying. So one other question I have is, is there some of the things that you refuse to compromise on when you're doing business in Korea? Something that comes to mind. Oh no, let me start by asking this question. Have you what can you share one of the success story you had so far working with a brand? You don't have to name the brand,
Oh,
but just a success story or two.
actually, my best success story is actually the brand Mixun because
Okay.
that's a brand. We've been working with them since 2022. So when I met them in 2022, it was at the Beauty Expo in Korea. And the
Okay.
lady, she's the wife of the CEO. So she saw
Okay.
me and she's like, that's how they can catch my attention when they're like, "Oh, we have an amazing sunscreen and it doesn't have a white cast." Because I'm not like brands always tell me that, and sometimes it's not true. So she made me test it, and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" And it felt really nice. And I was just like, and then she's telling me about her brand. It's a vegan brand, yada 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 yada. And I'm like, "Oh, I really like your concept because also I love brands with a real brand story." Like not just like marketing to just do marketing, but like, because I have friends, they change the story or the concept of the brand with the trends.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. You're not going to be sustainable. So with them, it was more like, okay, we're a vegan brand, we're doing this and this and that. Okay. So then we started talking, and I was like, let me do for you a beauty class for foreigners because they didn't do anything for the global market. It's just like they just opened in Korea. So then they're like, okay. So then we started the beauty class for them. We had like a small class, 10 people. And
Okay.
then from the 10 people, we made content for them and everything and everything. So then after that, we did a bigger event, an influencer event where we had like 80 people. And that's when they also joined. And then, so we built a relationship like that. We did like, we really worked like hand in hand. And then after we done that, I brought them to the KBD pop-up store at Gary Lafayette in Paris in 2023.
Okay.
And it was
Nice.
successful. It was super successful. And from there, we had a marketing agreement with them where we would promote on a monthly basis. And I would tell them. And the the wife CEO is very, she understands that you need to be inclusive and diverse, and you need to have content, and you need to be consistent, and you need to educate people. So we align on so many things. But
Okay.
in the end, what happened is we had that 2-year relationship working to the point where they were the first brand from our portfolio who was expanded to all the Gary Lafayette stores.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I'm always
Congratulations.
like, yeah, that's a brand I always love to promote, always talk about, keep using. So yeah.
Right. Beautiful story. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So for any of my sisters, right, a young African or just a black person, just watching this and who dream of launching their own beauty or lifestyle brand, what first step should they take?
I think what you need to, it's really assess what is your brand story and what you're trying to do for the community, like what you're trying to, like which issue you're trying to solve, and be genuine about it. And be very transparent, like, and build the community, right? It's very important. Like today it's all about community. Like people want to be like, you can build your brands with your consumers at the same time, because they feel involved, they feel like I'm part of the story, right?
Right.
So it can be hair, it can be makeup, can be skincare. Just understand what are you trying to do and stick to it, because don't change along the way to just follow the trend. Like, have your goal and stick to the goal, and then you just grow. But also, you need to understand when you create your brand, what is your end strategy? Are you planning to exit your brand, or are you planning to just like expand your brand and get investors here and there? So you need to understand that, and then from there you go backwards,
Okay.
how you get to that level.
There's this Senegalese girl. I think her name is Diara. I don't know if you know her. She's
Yeah, yeah.
doing big things. I think I saw yesterday on Instagram. I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure, but I think
it's
she's
true. Yeah,
signed
yeah,
with
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be the
That's
VP
it.
of
Have you guys
CSB.
ever your path ever crossed?
No,
Or
unfortunately, but I can't wait to meet with her because I think we'll have a lot to talk about. And I think our visions align. Well, that we have the same vision. We're on the, like, inclusivity and diversity. That's literally what we're fighting for. I'm in the K beauty space, and she's in the global beauty space.
I was actually chasing her just like I have been chasing you, but I haven't had the opportunity to get her. But since when I do get her, I'll make sure I create a panel of three where I'll invite you on
Please
it. And
do, please do.
we'll do a small episode about it. Uh, but yeah, but I've been asking you a lot of tough questions and just digging into your brain and your thought process and all that stuff. So now, what keeps you grounded and motivated when things get tough? You're doing, of course, you're doing a lot of someone building business, across foreign cultures and all that stuff. So
You know, there are two things. I think you need to have a core entourage, right? You need to have people who truly believe in you. But I also I'm Muslim and I believe that
right,
everything happens for a reason. So
right,
if things don't go a certain way, my thought is going to be, okay, I guess this is not meant to be. There's a better plan happening, right? So
right.
not to be always like, of course we can be depressed, but like instead of being depressed for a month, I'll be depressed for one day.
Totally, I agree 100%. So so I know I thought you were born in Senegal, but you were born in Paris.
Yeah.
How often do you travel to Senegal?
Like I used to go every year, since like I was like in my 20s, and then I would go like every 2, 3 years. But
Okay,
then I think starting next year, I'm gonna go more often in terms of maybe 2 or 3 times a year because I really want to establish Agaskin Africa from Senegal. I want Senegal
okay,
to be the
the hub,
core, yeah, the
right?
hub, and then dispatch from Senegal.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. So I like to keep my interview to an hour. We're getting close to that hour, right? So if you could send a message to your younger self, right? What would it be? Just a younger version of yourself. That's
Oh,
one. What would that
I would say dream big.
be? Okay,
Dream
dream
big.
big.
Sky's
Okay,
the limit, really. You just need to be focused and motivated and work hard. Nothing is easy. Nothing happened like the easy way.
right,
But when you work really hard on something you truly love,
right.
you even like it's gonna be like a bumpy road. Like those wins are very satisfying.
Nice, nice, beautiful. Keep dreaming and dream big. So obviously, I know that you have a love for languages, right? So how many languages do you currently speak?
Currently, like now, like, I used to learn so many
Right.
languages and I used to speak, but languages, if you don't speak them, you know how it is. So currently it's
Abs-
just like English, French, Korean, and then my Wolof.
So are you fluent in Wolof?
Fluent is a big word.
So you couldn't hold this whole conversation in Wolof if I had to break it down.
You
It would have
know,
been.
like I think you would be laughing so much with my like accent, and you'll be like, okay, like she's such a bunty. Yeah.
See, I see you've been now in Korea for quite some time because now you're trying to be perfect like the Koreans, right? In speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, like Korean is like, but nowadays, I think I'm losing a bit of my Korean because all my team speaks English.
Okay, okay.
So I'm like, guys, like, let's all speak Korean, like, because I feel like I'm not going to be able to speak Korean at some point.
Nice. So do you still speak Japanese? No? Yes?
Little words here and there,
Okay.
but like, not like my Japanese was way better than my Korean back in the day.
So you don't watch anime anymore? Is that
I
what it
do, I do, I do.
do? My son love anime, so that's why I
Anime,
was
anime is the best thing in the world. I feel like the way Japanese give you like this, like, you know, slice of life, they give you like, such good, I would say, values. That's why I love
okay.
anime.
Absolutely.
You can
So
keep
are you
let him.
planning on live? Is your plan is to stay in Korea, or you just for now you're a global citizen? You haven't decided where to live.
Yeah, I think I'm a global citizen for now. Definitely not gonna stay in Korea for the rest of
Okay,
my life.
okay.
But like I'm eyeing Middle East or Africa. I'm in between the two.
Mm, nice. Middle East is very bold for what you're trying to do. Very
Yeah.
bold.
Well, actually, we're doing our first entry to Middle East in at the end of this month, inshallah.
Nice, nice,
Yeah, we're
nice.
doing a pop-up in Abu Dhabi.
Nice, 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 nice. I'll be following you. Hopefully, when I ask question, you respond to it because you take
Oh
forever
yeah,
to
but
answer.
now we're on WhatsApp, so it's much better. Like my Instagram is really bad.
Right, right. I was just messing with you. So, what is your favorite K beauty product line,
My favorite KBD product line. I have to say I love Mixun, I love Medicube.
and why is that? What's so particular about it? Is that just the relationship you were able to build with them, and
No, I truly love the product. Like I think,
okay,
I like what they do in terms of the concept and like that's why I'm very committed to the brand because when I work with brand, I literally learn about the brands and the
okay,
products. It's not like so I really know like what's in it, like what's going on, like how they made stuff. Do they have a farm? They don't. Like I really know. And when I look into how the brand is growing, the brand story and stuff like that, that like it's a whole. But of course, the thing with also with K beauty products, everything is pretty good. Like 98% of Korean beauty products, they're all good.
so
It's
now, when you
all
say they have a farm, what do you mean by that?
oh, like because sometimes like for the ingredients. So Korean brands use a lot of different ingredients that are not necessarily used in the global market, like
Okay,
American brands, French brand, Italian brand. Like the ingredient they make or they use in Korea are very different.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference whether they own a farm or not.
Yeah, I mean, because like it's very transparent in terms of where that's the thing. Like I think it's nice to know like these brands like they cultivate their own ingredients. That's nice thing
Gotcha.
to know. But also some brands use a lot of I would say actually the three biggest manufacturer in the world are in Korea.
Mhm.
And
Really?
L'Oreal, which is L'Oreal, have their innovation center in Korea.
Mm,
So
okay,
because everybody knows Korea is the hub.
okay, man, interesting.
Mm.
So, if you were to choose between Korean food and Senegalese food,
Oh, come on. Of course, Senegalese food.
no,
What?
why though? I mean, if
No,
you
no, no,
could,
no. Senegalese food, Senegalese food.
do you know how to cook?
Yeah.
You cook?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put you on the test whenever I swing in Korea.
Exactly. Let's do that.
All right, so uh, one book or podcast. I don't know if you're a reader or listener. People are different how they consume information. Some people just
Yeah.
so. Is there a one book or podcast that has changed how you see the world?
Um, I'm listening to two podcasts, Diary of a
Okay.
CEO,
I'm
and I
addicted.
love and I love Emma Grade as well.
Emigrate, and what's that? Is a podcast?
It's a podcast as well.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
have to
it's a
look that
really
up.
nice podcast, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up. All right, Fama. It was definitely a pleasure having you here. I was looking forward to this conversation. I've learned a thing or two about beauty today, mainly K
I need to
beauty,
send you
and
some
just
skincare. You need to give me your address. I'm gonna make you your skincare routine and you'll see.
absolutely. You know what? I did not touch on that. Because when we talk about skincare, people have automatically just thinking about women, right? They don't think about
Oh,
man can actually just use skincare product just to enhance their skin as well. So we always think about women in general. So yeah, I'll be more than glad to have that and just try it on. Maybe it's going to give me a brand new perspective and
skincare,
whoever.
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, Farmer, I was definitely looking forward to this conversation, and I'm not disappointed. I learned so much about you, about Aga, about your K beauty. Usually, man, we don't have time to dive
That's so
into
true.
that. Right? So yeah, so one last word that you share with my audience, and I'll let you get back to your normal life.
Well, I would say one last word to your audience. Try K Beauty. It's gonna change your skincare.
Simple and straightforward. Simple and straightforward. So thank you again for sharing your story. This conversation was more than enlightening. You know, you've shown that inclusion isn't a trend; is just a standard, right? And true beauty
It is.
is built on knowledge, courage, and cultural respect. So if this has actually made a difference, of or you learn anything in this podcast, just please subscribe and share it. And thank you again, Farmer. I'll be chasing you and following you everywhere and just following your growth. And congratulations on all your wins and all your
Thank you so
success.
much. Thank
So
you. It
until
was a
next
pleasure
time,
to
I
be here.
absolutely, Farmer. So I see you in WhatsApp or on Instagram.
Works.
All right. Good luck with everything. Bye for
Thank
now.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.